Welcome to Side Hustle City, and thanks for joining us. Our goal is to help you connect to real people who found success turning their side hustle into a main hustle, and we hope you can too. I'm Adam Kaler. I'm joined by Kyle Stevie, my co-host. Let's get started. Welcome back, everybody, to the Side Hustle City podcast. Kyle Stevie isn't with us today. He has like a laryngitis situation. He can't talk, so not very good for a podcast, Barbara. So, co-host won't be here today, but we do have Barbara Hales, the medical strategist, themedicalstrategist.com. How you doing, Barbara?
It's a pleasure to be here today. Thank you very much for having me.
Oh, thanks for being on the show. Kind of have a celebrity. During the pandemic, you and Dr. Oz were talking a little bit, right?
Yeah, that was fun. I had the privilege to have some really great experiences. I was able to talk at the Royal Society of Medicine, to Cambridge University, the London Stock Exchange, the New York Stock Exchange. So I've been privileged.
Yeah, I'd say. That sounds great. But your experience is you started your own medical practice. Was it gynecology, correct?
Yes, OBGYN.
OBGYN. How long ago was that?
Well, I actually started my practice in 1980.
Okay. And then you sold it, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And a lot of people don't know. I mean, that could essentially be looked at as a startup in a way.
Absolutely. Whenever a person is going to start their own medical practice or any business for that matter, from day one, you should really have a plan in place for how you're going to sell it, to whom, what your strategy is going to be to build it up for the purpose of selling. Because let's face it, you want to have some equity with all the sweat that you're putting in. And also you can't work it forever. So why not get some money back at the end? It should be an asset for you, but you need to plan it from the beginning.
That's correct. Yeah, it can't be a lifestyle business where without you, there is no practice, right? I mean, you have to be able to hand it off. Investors, whoever that is, they're going to want to see a process there. They're going to want to see that you can bring patients in. That's the big part. Is there an active, sales strategy? Is there an active marketing strategy? Is there a way that if I buy this business, there's a process in place so that I can do the medical work and patients continue to come in?
Absolutely. Even though you would like to have a personal relationship with your patients, you have to have your business structured so that they're not coming to the practice solely for you. And when you sell it, since you're not there anymore, they have no reason to come back.
Yeah. So you started with zero. You didn't inherit a business. You didn't have relatives or something that were in the business that said, "Oh, here, Barbara, here's a medical practice." I mean, you started this thing from scratch and grew it to over 10,000 patients.
Yes. When I first started, I really wanted to have my own practice so that I could have, a personal relationship with each of the patients that I saw. I didn't buy a practice. I didn't go in an existing practice. I went looking for a venue where I thought a practice would be good exposure to. So I wound up getting a storefront on a main street. Whenever anybody drove by, they would be able to see it instantly. Originally, it was a candy store. And my main regret is they did not leave their inventory.
Well, you're a doctor. You know better. We shouldn't be talking about candy.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
You're a different kind of doctor. It's fine.
Well, we're doctors and we know what is good for health, but that doesn't make us saints.
That's all right. I had a Crunch bar or something earlier today too, so
there you go.
I'm feeling bad about it. I'm feeling guilty.
Anyway, I outfitted the practice, building exactly as I thought the practice would be run most efficiently. And it really didn't take long, like a few minutes maybe after the door was open to realize, hey, I have no patience. And in another month, bills were going to start piling up, so that if I didn't take action, the doors would be also closing pretty soon.
That's right.
In those days, marketing really was unheard of, but it was a question of survival. So over the course of time, I saw what worked, what didn't work, until I could create my own strategy. And this is something that I then can transfer to other people.
I love it. Well, yeah, I mean, that's one of the things I asked, like, what year was that? Because 1980, that the storefront, it was location, right? People were going to, the movies. Was it next to a place like that? Was it next to a high traffic area? Was it next to a department store? Was it close to where people want to be? A town square, something like that. Like, where was it? That was a big deal back in the day. Nowadays, you don't even necessarily, there's Teledoc now. You could have an entire practice and just be on Teledoc and make money all day. Like, you may not even technically need a location.
And there are many people for whom their location is cyberspace.
Yeah.
But regardless of where your location is, whether it is brick and mortar or whether it's online, the premise is still the same. You need to increase your visibility so that people know you exist. And secondly, once they know you exist, how it is that they're able to reach you.
Yeah. And this doesn't just go for medical practice. This is anybody out there right now who's got a side hustle. You're thinking about starting up a business. You have to have a plan in place. I was pumping my gas at a Kroger the other day, and a guy's sitting there, and he mentioned something I'm wearing, and is a University of Cincinnati Bearcats hat. And we got to talking anyway. The guy's got 10 kids. And he has got this desire to start a business. He doesn't really know where to start. He didn't know much about buying a domain name, all this other stuff. He's really starting from square one, because not only he has the desire, and you've seen this, right? You've seen this, people that, they want to start a company or whatever. This guy actually had the fire. You could see it. And it's like, man, if this guy just had the knowledge, the information that he needed when it comes to marketing, when it comes to just the basics of starting a business, he would be successful because he's got the killer instinct. And you could see it just by talking to the guy for a half an hour.
Absolutely. The thing is, what most people don't realize is that, you can't just open your door, and you need to have a business plan. When people open their door, I say, do you have a business plan? And they say, business plan? So it's not something that, many people really establish from the beginning. But the thing is, everyone needs mentors, no matter how high up you are. Anthony Hopkins told me once that at any one time, he had as many as 7 mentors. He had an acting coach, a voice coach, among others. Anything that he did, he had coaches for how to talk about the accent for the character that he was going to be portraying, a mentor to explain to him the history and the story behind the character itself. So any successful person is going to have a knowledgeable person leading the way for them. It's not something that you need to find out everything yourself. Take Tiger Woods in his heyday. He had a swing coach. He had a coach that just dealt with the psychology of winning and losing. He had a coach that was just how to get in and out of the, sand traps. You need to find people who are, number one, knowledgeable, and number two, able to communicate those skills to you in a way that you can understand them and have a relationship with.
And it's not that easy. So you and I mean, I know a lot of people who, are in marketing and, just being in the agency world for so long and being connected to people in the business world. If I wanted to find some mentors, I could probably, reach out to a few people and have 6 or 7 mentors, in a week and find some people. The guy I was talking to, though, I'm from a rough part of town and he was there. And, I would venture to guess he's not as privileged to know the same type of people that we know. What would you suggest for someone who's just starting out, may not know where to go, who to talk to, how to start networking, to find those mentors? How would you recommend that?
The first thing I would do before anything else is to sit down with myself and maybe, some friends who are in the same field that you're in, or even just starting out, to sit down yourself and say, what is it that I would like to become? What field of endeavor am I interested in pursuing? You have to know who you are before you know how to, reach for success. But once you've answered that question and identity and the niche that you've decided upon has been established, then I recommend going online and seeing who the experts are that you resonate with and that are successful. And then you could join their social media platforms and, get a taste for how they convey their ideas and see if it's something, again, that resonates with you. And as time goes on, if it's a person that has a lot to offer that you respect, you could reach out and sign up for some of their programs. And that's how I would start. But also, networking is so easy to accomplish nowadays online. And also, now that we are finally getting to the point where events are not just virtual anymore, to go to an association meeting in the niche that you've chosen and just speak with other people who are attending the sessions. I often find that it's more valuable to speak to the people that are attending the meetings like yourself, more so even than the speakers.
Good point. That's a good point. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you get out there and you talk to people. I mean, you never know who you're going to run into.
Well, absolutely. Plus, you may be trying to find out the solution to some of your struggles, and they may have just gone through it. They may say, hey, I had that, and this is how I approached that problem. And this is the social media platform that gives out all those answers, or these are the tools that you could find online that will give you the answers to the problems that you're looking for. So you're meeting up with people that are having the same struggles you are, and maybe they've just recently gotten over that hump and are more than happy to lead you in the right direction.
I love it. Yeah. I mean, in this guy's case, I'm not sure how much formal education he had, but, if you're not like me and have a marketing degree and, worked in marketing all these years, you may not know anything about, you don't even know what SEO stands for. I mean, this is one of the key things. If you're going to start a business, you have to understand some basic marketing practices and where marketing is going. Most internet marketing right now is dominated by Google and Facebook. The funny thing is, I'm talking to this guy. I don't know what his formal education is. I'm in my old neighborhood, but in your demographic on your site, it says 99% of doctors don't even have a clue when it comes to website optimization.
Absolutely. They put a website up and they think, well, now I've done the job, not realizing that the search engines will view the website as stagnant unless you're constantly adding fresh content. The search engines and maybe the readers themselves are saying, well, I haven't seen new information put on this site in months or 2 years. Is this Dr. still in business? Did this doctor die during the pandemic? Is this someone that I could still see? Is the office open anymore? So unless you're putting out fresh content on a regular basis, these are questions that people are going to naturally have.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, and I think, Google, when it's just a robot, it's just a bot that goes out and it crawls around the internet and it looks for things to match someone's search query. So, for example, the two things it's looking for is relevancy. So is this content relevant to the search? Obviously, but also timely content. It doesn't want to be putting out any kind of medical research or anything that was done 6 years ago. So if that's the
Absolutely.
last blog post that you've put out there and, maybe you've got a great headline, maybe the content is relevant, but if it's 6 years old, somebody else has probably produced something more recent that's just as relevant as whatever that was you produced.
What I love is that Google is giving free tools out that are so useful for everyone to get their hands on. So far, it's free. And to me, they're such valuable tools to have. My favorite Google tool is Google Alerts. I don't know how familiar you are with that, but the way in which that works is you go to Google Alert and you type in the words that you would like to have reviewed, in that whenever anybody uses that term anywhere, whether it's in a social media site, whether it's in a newspaper, a radio, or blog, just any time that term is mentioned, it will pop up in your email feed to say, this term has been mentioned and where you could find it. The reason why that's important has several different reasons behind it. Google also shows you the trends, which, is helpful. But in social media, it's so important to respond when people are talking about you, whether they're sending you personally an email or a blog post where you are tagged, or even two people are talking about you, but you want to know about it so that you can respond in a timely fashion. People don't want, professionals to go online and just leave posts. They want to engage with that person. And what better way to know when you need to respond is with a Google alert, which pops up and says, hey, someone just mentioned you, and, it would be good for you to respond.
Yeah. Oh, 100%, especially when someone has a personal brand like you have. We often have folks on the show who have written books. You've also written a book. You were on Dr. Oz. Somehow you get to meet Anthony Hopkins. That's awesome. Like, you've got a personal brand. You've got a reputation. So if you were to just put your name in, Barbara Hales, things are going to come up. People are going to mention you in the comments of, the Dr. Oz show or whatever it is. And you want to see what they're saying and be able to respond in a timely manner, just like you've mentioned. So, it totally makes sense to use Google Alerts. There's also Google's research tools. They've got, Google AdWords research tools that you could plug in. You could see, how much traffic those keywords are getting, how much it would cost to bid on those keywords. And some people don't know what we're talking about right now. But essentially, if you want your ad to show up in a Google search for a particular key phrase, it's going to cost you a certain amount of money. So if you're a plumber in Cincinnati and you want, you want to purchase the keyword plumbers in Cincinnati, it's going to cost you a certain amount of money to rank for that keyword. So every time someone sees that keyword and clicks on that keyword, there's a cost per click. So what is that business worth to you? That business is worth potentially $1,000. Well, are you willing to pay $20 per click? Because it could take 5 clicks for that business to actually come through. It could take 20 clicks. It could cost you more in Google advertising, depending on your business and how much each one of those, if those clicks resolve into business, how much is that worth? And how much am I paying? And so those kind of tools are available out there for you as well on Google, which are very important. And a lot of this stuff, people just do not have time to learn about and understand fully. Earlier in your business, it makes sense to try to do as much of this on your own as possible, but you might as well hire a professional. If you want to work, on your business and not in your business, then, this is something that you should probably look into. And this is something you found out. I mean, the fact that 99% of doctors know diddly squat about website, search optimization, SEO, and they probably know even less about PPC, which is pay per click, or search engine marketing, SEM. They need someone. They need someone like you. They need someone who can just take that burden off of their shoulders, let them run their business, let them do their business so that things can go smoothly.
Absolutely. One of my favorite words is outsource. Mm-hmm. And that is, if you are a health professional or a doctor, then your time is best spent doing just that. You're not a marketer. You are not a producer of videos. And so if you could outsource the things that you need and spend the time doing what you do best to cultivate your practice, you would be better off.
Exactly. Yep.
On the other hand, though, it's important still to understand the issues involved so that you're not hiring people and you don't know what they're doing or even how to ask about it. And for people that would like to learn, either the health professional or the health professional staff so that they could have the staff do it, I have an online course that they can actually register for that will take them through the paces in a simple module form that they could do, in their own time. And whether it's 2 people or 10 people in their practice, the price is the same. And all they need to do is go to medicalteamplaybook.com.
medicalteamplaybook.com. I'm going to check it out right now. medicalteamplaybook.com. So this is actually helping them. Hey, look, if you want to do it on your own, if you've got, somebody at the front desk who's, sitting there all day on Facebook and you maybe need to give them something to do, this is probably a good course to take them through so that they can at least understand what maybe you're doing. Like, even if that person isn't actually doing all this work, because I don't think people understand the amount of work that could be done. If you wanted to do things the right way, there's so much that you need to be able to do. So the person at the front desk, you need to arm them with as much information as you could possibly arm them with to make sure they're doing things the right way. And then they're probably still not going to do it the right way. So it's just the way it is. It moves so fast.
That's true. But there are certain key actions that somebody at the front desk should be taking. For instance, it's really crucial nowadays to keep up with your reputation, to have your patients rate you, give you stars, give you good reviews, so that when other people are looking online to see how you're being rated and reviewed, it comes up that you have a stellar reputation. And that starts with the front desk. When a person is leaving, if it was a patient that was satisfied with the encounter, that's the time to approach that patient, not a month or 2 later. And the person at the front desk is going to say, well, I'm glad that you had a positive experience. Could you please go into this site and rate the doctor for us? Or here's a card with the URL. please, give us some stars and tell them, that it was a positive experience so that it helps to grow the practice that way.
Exactly. I mean, there's those things. There's also, if you think about, and I know you're, a professional at building landing pages on top of all this, and landing pages, could be anything. I mean, you could call a blog a landing page. So if I go into Google and I search for, best medical practice in Detroit, maybe you take that exact keyword people are searching for and turn that into a blog post. Well, in that case, that blog post is now a landing page. And if you think about all the components of a landing page, what can I provide Google so that they're going to look at this page as the best page for that particular search? Well, it's already in the URL. Maybe I put a video on there, because if you do a Google search, you can do a Google search for, through the web. You could do a Google search for images. You could do a Google search for videos. All those things up at the top of Google, when you do a search that you can filter by, the more of those things you can put on a landing page, the better. So if you want to do a proper landing page, not only do you have to put the right amount of keywords in there, which, 4 to 6%, I don't know what you recommend, but generally I would say 4 to 6%. You don't want to overstuff the page with keywords, but also you need images. You need to make sure those images have alt tags. You need to name the image whatever.jpg, not image 43276.jpg, for accessibility reasons. It'd be a good idea to put a video on that page, but also put it on your YouTube channel, because YouTube's the second biggest search engine. So if you could do all those things, and that's just some of them, you also need some sort of an incentive form potentially on the right side of the page with maybe a white paper, top 10 reasons why, people in Detroit think we're the best medical practice in Detroit. And you get their name and your email address, and then you drop them into your newsletter campaigns. So there's a lot that has to be done. Those landing pages are essentially top of funnel. Now, all that stuff I just said sounds like a lot, and it is.
But let me break it down for you, because while it sounds like a lot, it doesn't have to be.
No.
The thing is, first of all, the beauty of a blog is that when you attach it to your website, the search engines view the website as being fresh content all the time. Every time you put a blog post, they consider that as fresh website all over again. So regardless of what you're writing, the search engines are already looking at you in a higher regard than your competition. Having a video is really important in that you are engaging the viewer, and you are having them stay on the page longer, because the search engines are looking to see, is that person on the site for like a quarter of a second and then flipping off, or are they spending time on that page? So by putting a video on, you're really being rewarded. And in the health or medical field, it's so easy, so ripe for videos to be formed, because you could say, this is the procedure, and this is the machine that we use for the procedure, or take a look at what's involved or how you would feel. This is a video on the people that work in the office, Mary Ann at the front desk, and what she does. And then you're going to be seeing Dennis in billing. He's over there, so that when a person or a prospective patient is coming to the office for the first time, they feel like they've been there before.
They've met everybody.
They know everybody.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Yeah. Great point.
And in terms of keywords, what I recommend is having 4 or 5 keywords that you concentrate on a regular basis. The first one is your location, because especially if you have a brick and mortar business, if you're an orthopedist in LA, you don't really care if somebody is looking to see a bone specialist in Alabama. You want somebody that is going to be in your territory. So one of those keywords is going to be the location. The second thing is going to be broadly what it is that you specialize in or do. And then thirdly, you're breaking it down to what it is that, the procedure that you like to do. So that keywords might be, LA orthopedist fixing knees and hips. So when somebody is going to go online and they're going to say, I'm looking for a doctor that does hip surgery or knee replacements, you're going to pop up.
Yes. Totally makes sense. Local search is huge for these folks. Because what you're talking about is some local search stuff. And there's local search is a little bit different than, I've got some clients and they're more global clients. That kind of situation doesn't matter as much to them. Their Google for Business page doesn't really matter that much to them, right? But local search, the things you're talking about, the keywords targeting your local area, but then also your Google for Business page and putting content on your Google for Business page. I've found, and I don't know if it's the same with you, Barbara, but I found that Google for Business page has really been a good driver of traffic for a lot of our clients that are local.
Yeah, I think that, like I said, Google gives so many presence and tools that you could use for your business.
Well, Google is Main Street now. Google is the location. Like that's the first location. Your website is not the number one place. Your website is the number one place people are going is Google first. Then they're going to your website, possibly. If you can convince Google that you are the authority figure in whatever this field is, in this case, medical, but also people have to understand. And now this would work for medical. It doesn't work for every industry, but giving away information, helping people, in these videos and on these blogs, what are you writing about? Is what you're writing about actually helpful to people? Do they see you as an authority figure? And to your point, it's not just about, hey, check out the front desk person and look at this person. And now I feel familiar with these people, but it's also that confidence that you know what you're talking about. You could turn yourself into somewhat of a celebrity, even if it's in your local market.
Absolutely. And, you could take it one step further, since we are talking about side hustles in your podcast, in that you could have a regular blog post and then have a paid subscription post each month for people that are writing in that they're interested in a particular topic, that you delve into it more deeply and answer the questions that they present, as long as it's not about themselves personally, because that would be against HIPAA compliance.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah, you got to watch. You got to be careful with the HIPAA stuff. That's for sure. But like in our case, marketing, sharing some tips, putting some stuff out there. Right now we're doing it, right? We're doing a video, we're doing some audio, we're sharing tips that people could go out and do on their own if they wanted to. It's not for everybody. It is a lot of work, especially when you start talking about the amount of content you need to produce, and you need a plan. A lot of people are just like, I got an idea for a blog. Let me just throw this blog up here right now. No. You need to be planning at the beginning of the year. You need a content calendar. You need some way to keep yourself on track when you initially do that research. What am I going to write about for the rest of the year? You mentioned 5 keywords that you would want to target. Okay, say I need to write 2 blog posts a week. What am I going to write about? It seems like a lot, Well,
the thing is this, unless you're in a practice by yourself with no office staff, which is not going to happen, you have people that can write and contribute as well. You don't have to have all of the pressure on you personally. What you could do is have a meeting once a month with your staff over lunch and create something that we call an editorial calendar. And then just divvy it up the way you would be divvying up the responsibilities in the office itself. You could say to Dennis, you're our billing person. So once a month or twice a month, can you talk about aspects of billing or what you should do to get your insurance more amenable to paying for the services when you come here? The one in the back that sends out the pathology reports, why not talk about how the labs compare and and when you could expect your results. But the thing that I recommend also for lead magnet, which is something that, people are writing in to request, is to have a FAQ sheet. People are asking you the same questions over and over every day, every other day, all week long. Take the top 10 questions that people are constantly asking and put it in a sheet with the answers. This is going to do two things. Number one, people are going to look at these questions and say, yeah, these are good questions. These are things that I'd like to know the answers to also. People, when they come to your website, might not be ready to make an appointment with you, but they want to know about you. And so by writing in to request this lead magnet, you're automatically capturing their name and their email address for future email campaigns. And they're questions that, people are already asking you. It's not something that you have to rack your brains about.
No.
And then number two, which is just or more valuable, is that when people call in to speak to a nurse about a question that you have on this sheet already, you could just refer them to the website and say, it's there, like read it at your leisure and then call back if you don't understand something, so that it's saving the office and the professionals time.
Makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. What is so I had I was doing some research. Maybe this was like a couple of years ago. One of the most successful contractors. And one of the things he did was every time he went out and did a job, and doctors probably can't do this, but every time he went out and did a job, he just like videotaped what he was doing. And he was talking about what he was doing. And he just put it out there on YouTube and then, took that video and stuck it on a blog post. And I think he had his wife maybe writing his blog post. But I think he was an HVAC guy or something. But I mean, he did the content while he was doing the work, right? So he kind of made it part of his job, and he was able to amass a ton of content. There could be opportunities for some people. Doctors obviously can't do that with patients, but
that's not true. That's not true. As long as you're not putting the exact location where you're filming it and the exact patient that you're, performing the service for, you can most definitely do a video, and you see it online all the time. A video on, a knee replacement, you're watching it from beginning to end, or, a laparoscopic procedure, and you're looking to see the scope go in, and then you're looking at the gallbladder and the spleen and the intestines. So, again, in the health field, it is so ripe with opportunity for videos to be done. And definitely the videos can be done at the time the procedure is done and posted after. Again, as long as the identity is hidden from view.
Interesting. I want to talk about your book too. Tell me about the book. Is it Content Copy Made Easy? Was that the book?
Yeah, so I have several books, but the Content Copy Made Easy is actually in tandem with the medicalteamplaybook.com. And for all those people that sign up for the program, they would get a copy of the book itself. But this book has an explanation with tools about how to do a press release, a white paper, an advertorial, names that, people may not really be that familiar with. And then after each little chapter, there are a few questions to show that you understood the module that you've read. If you'd like to submit those, then we give you a certification in the content marketing at the end.
Interesting. Okay. So you're even doing certifications. That's great.
Yeah.
Oh, I love this. Yeah, this is something that, I've been looking into, I'm into blockchain technology and cryptocurrency and all this other stuff. I've noticed you've got a lot of the MITs of the world, Cornell. I've gotten something from maybe the University of Florida, where they have courses and these are all certificate programs. So on top of my education, I've gone out and I went to Cornell and I got a certificate not too long ago in commercial real estate development because I own a commercial building and I wanted to learn more about it. Right. And I'm like, okay, well, if I'm going to own a commercial building, I need to understand how all this stuff works. Right. And it was a great course. I think it maybe cost me $2,500, $3,500, something like that. But the value I got out of it was a lot. And now I'm thinking, oh, maybe I take one of these blockchain courses from MIT, to be able to put that on my LinkedIn. Hey, look, I've gone through this and now I've got a certification from MIT. It means something, and I mean, for $2,500, $3,000 to get a certification, to also build my knowledge up and probably dig into some stuff I hadn't thought about, that was valuable to me. And I mean,
absolutely. But in addition to that, if someone is looking for someone that has your skills and specifications, and there are 6 other people that are also your competitors doing the same thing, who are they going to hire? Well, it's going to be the person with the certifications or the one that wrote a book.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. Exactly. And I've noticed that a lot of consultants that I have on the show, they've all written multiple books. They've all either written, at least written one book, and that's really to boost their profile. Hey, look, in your case, best-selling author, and that adds to things. And, not only that, just the knowledge that you're going to gain from something like this, I think is super valuable. And it is not easy to put a program like this together. I mean, the amount of time I'm going through here right now, all your modules and everything, I mean, this must have taken a long time. And I mean, you bring years and years of experience to it. So, I mean, that makes it a little bit easier. But I mean, if my wife's actually doing something like this, she owns a spa here in Cincinnati, and, not my words, but, other people have said, and she's ranked, the best esthetician in Cincinnati. And she, because of that, there's a lot of people that say that, she's like, I should just do my own course. So she looked into Kajabi and some of these other tools out here that you could do a course with, and even medical professionals, they could do this. And she's thinking, wow, there's a lot of estheticians out here that, that are struggling to run their business and she's doing great. So she was wanting to do a course on, how to run a spa business, how to, when to buy your products, when to do this, when to do that, how to help, do this for the skin and all that. So that was what she was thinking about doing. I feel like a lot of people in this industry, in the medical industry in general, are starting to look into building these courses. But what you've put together here, I mean, this is legit.
Oh, absolutely. And it's done with, videos. But in addition to that, there is an easy way for people who registered for it to reach me with any of their questions. Simple things like how to write a press release, comes in really big because, let's say you're going to be participating in a health fair. Well, you should be putting out a press release so people know about that, not only after the fact, but before the fact, so people show up to the health fair.
Yeah, people don't even know how to write a press release, and they don't know where to submit the press release,
Exactly. And there are places to put it which are paid, but there are also places to put it which are free. And this is discussed in my program.
I love it. Barbara, this is great. And I like talking to other marketing people. I love the fact that you've got so much history in this. You've sold a business, you owned your own practice. Now you're helping other small business owners, because that's what they are when they come to you or
right.
Learn about you. These are small business people, and small business is so important to the economy in the United States. And these, you need people to be successful. And I think one of the reasons you see so many people failing in business is because they don't grasp marketing and they don't understand, they can't keep up with it. And they just don't understand how to get it going. And you're right. Oh, I just throw a website up there and it's up there. Like, I got a website now, but you got it. There's so much work that has to be done.
Well, also before that, they thought, well, I don't really need to market myself because I'm listed in the insurance guides. So when a person participates in an insurance plan, my name is on the list. But they don't realize, first of all, you have no control over what's written on those pages about you. And secondly, you could be taken down from those insurance pages, at their whim, and then you'll have nothing.
Yes, that's very true. You've got to own your own stuff. Very true. Well, I mean, I'm looking through some of your blog posts here. This is some valuable content here on your podcasts. Like, these are some really good topics that people, the SBA.
Yeah. And my listeners are looking forward to having you on my podcast as well.
Oh, I'd be happy to be on the podcast. Yeah. These are some great topics, like how the SBA can help you. Big deal. People don't even know what the SBA does, or that the SBA can offer you, fair interest rates on loans. Or if you need to buy a building, for God's sakes. I mean, everybody, that's an asset for your business. I mean, a lot of people, they're going to rent their commercial space, but look at the prices of real estate right now. I mean, it might be a good idea. My wife's actually looking at a space now to just buy a building and have your practice in there. And in a way too, if you were to start out something, you buy a building, that kind of locks you in. That you're serious. Like, you're serious about getting your business going. And the SBA has loans like the SBA 7A that can help you purchase a property.
That is one of my wisest business decisions, to buy my own building. And, that's something I will never regret. I'm still seeing revenue from that investment. And I personally haven't been in it in years, and it's still every month sending me a check.
I love it. Oh man, my wife's going to be so happy. I'll say, Barbara Hales, veteran medical professional, consultant, marketing expert, says she will not regret purchasing her building.
Absolutely.
I love it. I love it, Barbara. Well, I appreciate you being on the show today. This has been some really great information. Drop a couple links. Let people know how they can get a hold of you.
Well, they can go to www.themedicalstrategist.com, or they could go to medicalteamplaybook.com and get more information about the program.
Yeah, and if you guys want to do some more research, it's Barbara Hales, Hales, MD on LinkedIn. So,
well,
if they want
thank
to do
you so much for having me today.
Yeah. Hey, I appreciate it, Barbara. I'd love to be on your podcast too. And this has been great, really good information. And I love that you've taken the time to share it with our listeners today.
Take care.
Take care, Barbara. See ya. Thanks for joining us on this week's episode of Side Hustle City. Well, you've heard from our guests. Now let's hear from you. Join our community on Facebook, Side Hustle City. It's a group where people share ideas, share their inspirational stories, and motivate each other to be successful and turn their side hustle into their main hustle. We'll see you there, and we'll see you next week on the show. Thank you. Honest.